So once again, welcome to the Record Keeping 101 with Agribusiness. I'm Dawn LeBeau, I'm the program officer here. I've been with Agribusiness for a year and about a month. I'm responsible for hosting webinars and also creating content for our clients, doing a lot of the programming end of the work here. So we're a Native community development financial institution, and our mission is to transform Native agriculture and food economies by delivering creative capital, leading paradigm changes, and enhancing producer prosperity across Indian country. Agribusiness is the Lakota word for working together in a cooperative effort, and this is reflective of our lending philosophy. CDFIs are like banks in the sense that we provide loans, but you cannot deposit money. We're different than banks because we provide also technical assistance with our loans, and that comes in the form of business and goal planning, succession planning, financial literacy training, and etc. And you'll see a lot of this content on our website under the reporting space. And while there are no laws that we have to follow, while there are laws we have to follow, we are unregulated, which allows us to be flexible and innovative. Okay, a few of our products and services here at Agribusiness. So we offer a variety of loan products and services, and they're all designed to increase the agriculture economy in Indian country. Our financial and technical assistant products and services are always evolving to meet the needs of our producers. But here is a list of what we currently offer. That includes youth loans, general loans, operating loans and lines of credit, land mortgage and down payments, business and goal planning, succession planning, marketing assistance, and then financial literacy trainings. Eligibility includes the following. So in order to be eligible, you must be involved in the native agriculture field. This can be anything on the food chain from initial production to retail, and eligible activities include, but are not limited to farming, ranching, fishing, timber, retail, trucking, and etc. Okay, so let's go ahead and move right into the record keeping portion. And like I said, we'll start it out with a survey. Okay, so a poll should have popped up on your screen. You're welcome to participate if you are able to. See a lot of answers. Okay, so the question is, do you currently have a record keeping process? Yes, no, or could be improved are the responses. So I'm getting a 60% of can be improved. So as I named, this is very entry level record keeping. It's just naming the things of why we do record keeping and then touching on points of things that we can do to improve it. We do have a short 18% of participants that don't have a current record keeping process. So this will be very beneficial for everyone. It's always good to get a refresher, right, of things that we might not be doing but could do. So that's what we hope to include today. So we have 18% of yeses, you do have a record keeping process. 18% of you are saying, no, you do not. And then 64% of you are saying that your process could be improved. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end that. Thank you everyone for answering that question. Okay, so what is record keeping? Well, the goal of record keeping is to preserve your operations information, to store it in an organized way, and to make sure that it is retrievable in a timely manner. Record keeping shows if your operation is growing in a positive manner, if you're bringing in money, all of the forms such as cash flows and balance sheets. You want to keep all of these forms in your record keeping process, and you want to understand them too, right? Okay, so why is it important to keep these records? And like I said earlier, it's to be able to monitor the health of your operation, show your operations growth, to be able to track your income and expenses, and to track changes over time that will eventually help your operation to become more successful. And most importantly, to keep yourself organized, to keep your process consistent, and to be prepared for anything or anybody that needs your records, mostly you, right? So these are things like financial reports, an annual calendar, and receipts. Okay, these are things that your record keeping system should do. Everybody's system is a little different. It fluctuates from operation to operation. So if you're doing cattle ranching, it's going to be a little different than farming. If you're doing farming, it's going to be a little bit different than trucking. But your system should meet the goals of your operation, number one. Number two, it should be a process that's efficient, that you're able to maintain and repeat. So that goes back to the consistency part, right? It should also be a system that provides the information to help you make better decisions and manage the risks that you're taking. And then number four, your record keeping system should be in compliance with any legal requirements and regulations. And once again, those fluctuate depending on the operations that you are maintaining and managing. If anyone has any questions, feel free to place them in the chat or the Q&A as they arise. Otherwise, we'll be doing Q&A at the end of the webinar here. Okay, so operation activities that require business records include applying for a loan. So anytime you have a loan application, the loan officer is going to ask you for specific documents. They want to know that you're serious about your loan and that you can afford it. Anytime you submit for insurance or insurance claims, they're going to require business records. Marketing, you're going to use a lot of your business records to increase your marketing or decrease your marketing, right? Because marketing always includes funds, loans, strategic planning, filing your income tax on an annual basis, and production techniques. So we'll go into a little bit of these as we move through the webinar here today. Okay, so these are a lot of the records that you should keep, and we'll go through them one by one. Okay. So 3 years of tax returns, any government program records, that could be like the FSA or the NRCS, any loan records, any leasing agreements or land agreements, your EIN number, which is your federal identification number, your DNB if applicable, articles of incorporation and bylaws, your business license, whether that's state or tribal, your cattle and horse brand if applicable, proof of insurance, proof of leases, your labor trade agreement if applicable, your detailed business plan and your loan fund budget, any credit score records that you might have, your current balance sheet, your 3-year cash flow projections, and if you have, a cattle operation, then a cattle growth chart. So we'll go into some more specifics here. And I see a question from the participant. I was told to keep 7 years of taxes for agriculture. We have greenhouses and veggies. Yes, I was told that too. This 3-year tax one is going off of our form Sarah Occupan, but yes, that is a standard practice as well, Shirley. Okay. Thanks for naming that. Okay, so like production records for ranching, we've developed a list here. So like important contact sheet. Some places have this nice big booklet that has all of these pieces ready to go for you. So it could be in a booklet form, but important contacts, your calendar year, pasture pay and crop records, grazing records, cattle records, your beef gestation table, your is it A1 or AL, excuse me, breeding records, natural service breeding records, pregnancy records, bull production, vaccination records, supplement records, and your calf performance analysis. So all of these forms will help you make informed decisions throughout the year. And they also may help you decide things such as, your herd growth. So by keeping track of the amount of cattle that you have, this will all help you figure out how many cattle you sold, the amount of cattle you have at the end of your cycle, and what you are looking at going into for your next cycle. So this will tell you how much your herd has grown over the year, and if you didn't grow at all, and if you only retained. Okay, this is some production records that you can keep for farming, and it includes crop yields, fertilizer and seed, pesticide applications, irrigation and planting and harvest dates, labor, either paid or unpaid, weather, precipitation, wind and storm details, utility records, such as water and electric, and then your inputs and opportunity costs. So this will also help you in the farming arena. So then we have a couple more examples here. Let me move forward. So for fishery, your production records can include any of these. Of course, there could be more, right? So lease info, species, stock, number or pounds of fish, units per price per unit, value harvest, and any amount that you have donated. Value added production records could include, packing, any ag products that you utilize, a scheduled process, temperature and timetable, any inspection records for cooling and labeling. Some most often include the food distribution plan. I know that there is more for value added, but these are just to name a few. Okay, and financial records. So keeping all your financial records can help you answer the following questions for record keeping. Like I said earlier, they can answer, are you making a profit? Where is my money being spent? What are my expenses? Do you have any cash on hand now? What will my taxes look like? Do you need to apply for a loan to purchase expenses? Two financial forms that are very key are the cash flow sheet, and we have on our website some examples. We'll go ahead and put the link in the chat so that you all can access what we make available to our clients. Bear with me. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and place this in the chat. I hope you all can see it. But we have a tab on our website called the application materials. You'll see an example, a live example that you can use for our cash flow template and our balance sheet template. So go ahead and check out all of the resources that we have available there. And if you don't understand those two forms, we also have some financial literacy resources on there. And I want to go ahead and share our guide with you, because there's also some supplemental videos that will walk you through how to walk through your cash flow sheet, walk through your balance sheet. So both of those are in the chat, and you are more than welcome to visit our website as well to navigate around in there to see those things. Okay, so I won't go into the details of those, but those are some financial forms that are key in record keeping. Okay, So to the good part, right? Like, where do you start? So you're going to want to make a game plan that you can follow. This goes back to record keeping 101 of like, what do I need to keep? So you're going to want to keep receipts. You're going to have a plan that works for you. Where are you going to keep your receipts? So a lot of folks that I have spoke to, they keep them in the glove compartment. They put them in their checkbook because you're out and about and you're doing business as needed from day to day. So you want to keep the receipts. Where do you want to store these? So you have a good system of where to access them when you do your reconciliation at the end of the month. You're going to want to document things as they happen. So a lot of folks carry a little journal around with them in the cattle industry or the garden industry, and they're noting things as they happen with date and time so that they can always reference back to it. This is going to help in marketing. This is going to help you to make better decisions the following year. And then you're going to think about, how will you manage these? When you sit down to reconcile your accounts and look at your numbers, what is your process going to look like? So we'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly. And finally, you're going to want to revisit your plan as needed, whether that's weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. You're going to want to break it down to meet your needs. Every business is a little different, and we're talking very broadly here because we have cattle businesses, farming businesses, value added, trucking, things like that. Okay. So moving forward here. Okay. Basic record keeping. So when we talk about that, we're going to talk about receipts. Talked a little bit about how we're going to keep those, where we're going to keep them. You're going to want to record all of your business transactions and then transfer those into your monthly ledger. And your ledger could be just a pen to paper, right? Moving your receipts into your written ledger or into your Excel sheet if you do it that way. Whatever works for you. That's what we want to focus on here, is you need the process to work for you. Number 4, basic record keeping helps to estimate your operations profits and losses. And number 5, analyzing your operations. So key points in basic record keeping. Okay. So income and expense receipts. You want to keep all your income and expense receipts like we named before. Save your receipts and reconcile them monthly. Sort the income and the expense documents. Once you put those receipts into, could be an envelope, you have to go through them to see what your expenses for the year or for the month are. So start with a system to organize your receipts. Like I said, it could be an envelope, but here at Akitan, we also give out this like a 10-ply folder, and you can organize them from month to month. Some people do annual operations. So at least if you have them in a filing system, organized from month to month, it's easier to manage. So even if you have a shoebox, right? If you put them in the shoebox and you have some little dividers in there, that could work too. So organize your receipts so that they're easy to manage and easy to look through when it is time. Okay. All right, moving into recording your business transactions. You're going to separate your transactions from income to expenses. Move your data into your ledger, like I named before. That could be a written process, that could be in Excel. You're going to want to visit your annual reports, utilize any softwares. Softwares can cost. So a lot of folks use Excel, but it's good to look in to see if that is something that is manageable and worth your time and money. And then working with CPAs and bookkeepers, because they know the ins and outs of all the things. It's important to see what is available in that arena. Some people, they take all their information to their CPA at the end of the year, right? So identify who can help you best and identify the bookkeepers in your area. Okay. Monthly ledger transferring. So like I named before, write your numbers in your ledger. Your ledger can be pen to paper. Lots of folks and somebody I know, they take all the receipts and it's easier for them to write it down on a piece of paper. Another person I know takes the receipts and enters them into an Excel sheet. That's easier for them. So whatever your process is, use that process and make sure that you understand it. So consistency is key. So you don't have to do both. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both. But as long as you're knowing what your income and expenses are every month, every year, you're going to have a process that helps your business in the long run. All right, looking at your profit and loss. So your cash flow is going to show your estimated profit over the last year. You want to look at that every year and make sure that you are making an income and seeing where you need to adjust things. So this is why record keeping is so important. You could be overspending here, underspending there, and not making a cash flow. So record keeping helps for you to meet your needs. All right. So analyzing your operation in record keeping, total income minus the total expenses equal estimated of the profit or loss. Check your annual performance throughout your numbers. And then also you will need to identify the trends. Record keeping will help you to do that. So the real numbers on paper to help your operation. Okay. So now that you have a little bit of information about record keeping, look at your current process and identify any problems that you might have with your current record keeping process. Do you have a good timeline of like weekly activities, monthly activities, quarterly activities? What can help you to be prepared for when you do need to go get a loan, go get some insurance, do insurance claims? Go back and think about your production records. Are those up to date? Can you pull those production records and look at them and see where your trends are, where your income and expenses are maybe not where you want them to be? So after you identify any problems in your production record keeping process or your financial record keeping process, write those down. And then what are your goals for those? For example, if you don't reconcile your accounts at the end of every month or every year, you have some gaps that you want to close out. Maybe you need to create a process of reconciling monthly. And what does that look like? Does that mean that you're putting receipts in this little envelope and labeling them better, so that way you're not struggling to find those receipts at the end of every month or every week? So after you identify your problems, you're going to define your goals, and you're going to then create a timeline for reaching these goals. There's something called SMART goals that could definitely help with this. So create a timeline for reaching these goals. If quarterly, you're not having all of your receipts and your production records in place, then you're like, what do I need to do weekly? Do I need to be writing all of this stuff down weekly? Do I need to put aside an hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, to make sure that my production records are completely filled out so I can look at the trends? It gets real busy when we're out there actually doing the work, right? So it would be important for you to sit down at the end of every night, write in your journal, and then transfer all of that information into one big document. So that way you can look at it and maintain it easier, rather than sitting there thinking, well, did this happen on Tuesday or was it Thursday? If you have your ledger there or your journal, you just open it up to that month and you find it. So what's your action plan going to be to make all of this more streamlined, more easy to access, and easy to look at? So think about all of these things. So 1, you're going to identify your problems. 2, you're going to define your goals. 3, you're going to create a new timeline that helps you to reach those goals, whether it's putting time aside at the end of every day, every week, every month for adding information into your production records or your financial records. Jumping ahead here. Sorry about that. Okay, so you're creating your action plan after you do all of those 3 things, and then you're putting your action plan to use. So today, when you go out to do haying, you're gonna sit down 30 minutes when you come in the house, or maybe you're outside, and write all of these details down into your planner. So do you need to go out and buy a lot of stuff? I would say no. Maybe you have a calendar on the wall and you can write all the things on there. I know that my dad, he was a rancher, so he would come in at the end of the day at his ranch house and then write all the important things on this wall calendar. It was a big wall calendar. That was one of his ways of meeting his production records. And then later on, he would put things together quarterly. So create a process that works for you and make it consistent. So that's the now what. Okay, so this webinar was very basic, record keeping 101, just to try and identify or help you all identify what records you should be keeping and how to manage the plan. So very 101-y, but definitely check out our record keeping financial literacy resources. We have a financial management guide for cattle ranchers on our website, as well as all of the recordings that we have done in the past, and that includes the cash flow and balance sheet webinar. I'm going to go ahead and close it out there and open up with, if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat. Or in that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And seeing as that most of you have a record keeping process in place, hopefully some of these things helped you to identify record keeping production pieces that you're not keeping right now and could be. Okay, I do see a comment in the chat. It says that Cornell University has a free spreadsheet for record keeping. I took it to my CPA and used it for our farm. Awesome, thanks, Shirley. We can connect after this if you'd like, and I can share that out to participants if they would like to use that. Okay, if there are no questions, I must have covered all of the information pretty thoroughly. I'm going to put our email contact on the screen here. So our email is info@occupan.org. Phone number is up there, 605-301-0851. We're also inviting you all to subscribe to our newsletter. If you go to our website, you can sign up there. And you can follow us on our social media channels. So we are constantly looking at different content to offer to our clients and to future clients. So if you all would take a moment to fill out our feedback form, I'll put it in the chat. That way you can enter your information there. Next month, we're going to be doing a 10 tips to avoid in succession planning with Iowa State University. So definitely sign up for our newsletter so you can get registered for that. And definitely go to our website and check out the recordings that we have available on there. I'll go ahead and just name a few that we have available right now. So marketing your agribusiness is one of them. We have a part 1 and part 2 from the Indian land tenure organization. Mr. Jim Wabandato is talking about Indian land tenure and American Indian lands, as well as the Indian Reform Act and estate planning. So check that out. I'll once again put that link in the chat with the feedback form so you can access that. All right, well, thank you all so much for your time. Again, email us if you have any questions. Go ahead and take a moment to fill out that feedback form so we can offer you all webinars that are beneficial and helpful for your agribusiness. All right, thanks and have a good day.